Hi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, my name's Rachel McHattie, and I joined Highcrest back in 2003. I stayed so a long time ago, and I stayed on to do my A levels, so would have left in 2010.
Wow. So
Long
what so
time
what do you
ago.
do now? What does the great world offer you?
So I work in cybersecurity now. So currently responsible for the cybersecurity function of around 13 companies here in Canada. So very busy time at the moment. But yeah, IT and cybersecurity.
So the question is, where are you in Canada?
I'm in Toronto. I moved here around a year and a half ago. Loving it, loving the winter, as we said. It's pretty cold and snowy. Yeah, I'm in Toronto at the moment.
It's amazing to actually have that ability just to go and work around the world. I mean, that's the whole fun of it, isn't it?
Yeah,
And I should imagine with something like cybersecurity, you can actually it's a passport to anywhere.
yeah, exactly. Every company needs cybersecurity in some form. So it's
Yeah.
definitely one of those fields that opens up other opportunities and travel and those types of
Yeah.
fun things.
I think when you're young, do it. And it's
Yeah,
just that take
absolutely.
that chance. And then you might find somewhere you want to settle down.
Yeah,
So if I take you
absolutely.
back to your time in Highcrest, a
Sure.
long time ago, how was sort of when you first came here, you sort of 7, 8, 9 years?
Great. I mean, I had no idea what I wanted to do as a career back then, obviously. I think that's sort of, you're still a kid then, right? So you're
Yeah,
kind of figuring things out. But yeah, the first few years were great. It was more, I think, naturally around making friendships and
mm.
having fun more so than kind of focusing on GCSEs or anything at that point. But yeah, those
Yeah.
years were really, really fun.
And have you still kept in contact with some of your friends from there that time?
Some people, yeah, I think social media makes it easier.
Yeah,
But I think naturally as you get older, you just end up making friends all over the place, right? In jobs,
yeah,
at university, and those types of things.
yeah. Because I think life ebbs and flows, but actually, when you're in that key stage 3 time, which is the 7, 8, 9, it is important, isn't it? And
Yeah,
it's not just the learning; it's actually how you are at school and how much you enjoy it. And you are there quite a lot of the time.
yep, exactly. So if you can have fun, then you should try and have fun.
So, what GCSE subjects did you choose in the end?
I don't remember all of them.
No.
I definitely did English literature. PE and science were my favorite
Mm,
subjects at the time. I think I also chose history, which I really enjoyed. Probably, and I don't know how many options you get, but yeah, those
yeah.
were the kind of main ones.
And assumably, your options were based on what you enjoyed, what you did well at.
Not even what I did well at, honestly. Like I think I just went with what I enjoyed the most at the
Yeah.
time. Like I remember um, feeling like it was a big decision then, which options to choose, what to go for. But really, I think the best option for me was just to go with what I enjoyed. Um,
You're going to be working hard for 2 years on these. And I think, God, can you imagine having to go through a subject you just can't stand?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
And actually,
don't want to be doing
I
that.
also sometimes think if you enjoy it, you tend to do well at it as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah, you've got that want to actually do the work and get on
yeah,
with
it
it and
goes a
do
little bit
well.
hand in hand.
Yeah, exactly. True.
So, was there any teachers that stood out for you helping in that time?
So many teachers. I was very lucky. I had a really, yeah, the teachers at Highcrest were so supportive towards me at that time. So yeah, Miss McCalligan, Mr. Shaw, Mr. Mazera, Mr. Cheeseman. Like I don't know, I think a lot of those teachers might still be
Yes, they
around,
are.
which
It's, in
is
fact, you've named all apart from Mr. Cheeseman, though all of them are here. In fact, you've
which
chosen our
is
SLT group.
there you go. Yeah, they were so supportive at the time, and so yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better environment for
And I think
school.
that makes a real difference, doesn't it? Because you know that somebody's got your back,
Yeah, yeah,
and that
exactly.
and that really really helps because you think, yeah, I can do this, even in your dark days. I can do this.
Yeah.
So when it came to your A levels, what did you choose?
I chose English literature, a BTEC in sports, which I think was like a double BTEC.
Yeah, it probably was.
AS biology and EPQ, which was like a project type
Yeah.
course. So yeah, and again, even at that point, because those were quite sort of mixed topic, like quite varied choices, and even then I didn't know really what I wanted to do following on. But yeah, I again just went with what I enjoyed doing most.
Because A levels
then
are really hard. I shouldn't
they
put anybody off.
they
But
were quite difficult.
out of all my qualifications that I've done, they've been I think they were most intense I did.
Yes, yeah, I think the jump from, for me personally at least, the jump from GCSEs to A levels felt bigger than the jump from A levels to university. Like I don't know what it
Yes.
was, but it just felt like the work was a lot more intense. You had more responsibility to get your work done as well, more kind of individual responsibility for deadlines and things. So they did feel harder, but also rewarding because you got to deep dive on a topic that you really enjoyed, right?
And actually, as you said before, you've got more responsibility for yourself. So that has a sort of slight negatives, but it also has this positives because, you know, you really was a point of what you put in, you do get out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I think that deep diving thing as well. And also I find your relationship sometimes with an A-level tutor sort of changes a bit because you're both looking further into the subject.
Mhm. Yes, yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, you really get to spend a lot more time on it and learn some of um, the things that you need, the skills that you need to take with you into university if that's what you choose, or into work, either one, which is things like being responsible for deadlines, independent learning, going off and doing the work yourself and coming back and talking about it. Those types of skills I found really valuable. But yeah, the A levels were great, difficult, but really, really great.
So once you did your A levels, where did you decide to go?
After I did my A levels, I enrolled for a sports science degree at Oxford Brookes University. I think at the time I was really torn between doing an English literature degree or a sports science degree. Like I really didn't know which one to go for. And I think there's no sort of harm in that, but yeah, I think when you get to university, it's kind of like A levels on steroids, where you really are now deep diving a topic. So you do want to make sure that you at least have enrolled in something that you really love, because it gets hard if you don't. So that becomes even more important when you're doing university. So yeah, so I did that for a few years. I then went into the working world. I ended up working for a publisher for a bit, for education publisher for a bit. And that's where I got into IT and then eventually into cybersecurity. And then I went back to university to do a part-time master's a few years ago in cybersecurity. So,
oh, well, so you found yourself along the way.
Yeah, exactly. So completely unrelated to anything that I studied. I didn't study. I think you have to study some IT at school, but I didn't do a GCSE in anything IT or technical related. And I didn't do my first degree in that either. So it really is something that I ended up finding later on.
But
In my
that's not
kind
a
of,
problem either. But that was really good. You were able to go back part-time to do a master's.
yeah, that was great. It was an intense time because I was working full time and then doing the master's on top of that. So it took 4 years to get it done, but we got there in the end eventually.
Yeah, I did one of my masters while I was working, and the same as
Okay.
you sort of felt like because everybody else, you sort of felt you were climbing that big hill
Yeah,
because you were having to work at the same time.
yeah, it's really challenging, I think.
But I have to say I really enjoyed mine. I was quite lucky in that way.
What
So
was yours and what was yours
mine
in?
was in product design.
Oh, cool. Okay,
So
that's
it
interesting.
wasn't anything to do
Again,
with what I'm
different.
doing now.
Yeah, so it's a different field as well, right? It's
Yeah.
interesting.
So so now you've got your master's in cybersecurity, and then presumably that led you into a whole new world.
Yeah, it was partly, so I was partly working in cybersecurity already before I'd started the master's, which I was very lucky to get that position considering that I didn't have formal education at that point. And that goes to show that you can, if you're going just, if you're interested enough and you work hard enough, you can do these positions without doing a master's. But for me, I found that the master's was really helpful for my own confidence, so that I could show up to job interviews. I could do my job really confidently, knowing that I know what I'm doing. I've got the right skills. So that really helped. And it has opened up a lot of doors for me. I can now work in, cybersecurity for pretty much any company anywhere in the world, which is what led me to getting this job and moving to Canada. And this job has a lot of travel as well, which is very exciting.
And it is absolutely on the nail at the moment. You say we hear in the news about the cybersecurity. I think there's a lot more that goes on in that world than most of us ever know about, and more things that probably hit that we don't know. I know that our IT teacher, Mr. Eunice, knows a heck of a lot about it.
Yep.
And is always saying that's where the jobs are.
Yeah, that's true, because there's so every company needs it, right? It's a function that's relatively new in the scheme of the business world. Every company needs cybersecurity. Every school needs it to some degree. So there's lots of opportunities and so many different types of positions as well. So I work in quite a kind of leadership strategic position, but if you want to, then you can be on the more kind of technical side. You could be trying to deliberately, safely, with sort of permission, hack into companies and test them for vulnerabilities and do those things. So there's so many different roles and so much potential going into this field, I'd say.
The one thing we don't tend to learn at school or university is the sort of what they're sometimes known as the soft skills, or I think they're now termed as what they call the human skills. And that must have been what helped you getting into an area that you didn't know, that you were just able to communicate with people and work with people, that then allowed you. When did you sort of pick those skills up, do you think?
I think you pick them up, well, for me personally, just throughout life. Like, I think you get introduced to kind of group work, for example. You get introduced to that at school, but also at university. In your first jobs, you learn how to communicate professionally, and what that looks like. And no one's expecting you to be amazing at communication and soft skills, especially when you first leave school, because you're new to the world of work. But I think it's important to spend time on those skills. And when you start your first jobs, or even later on in your career, having those conversations with managers to kind of see how you can develop your skills even later on. So, for example, for me, I've recently started communicating more excuse me, with CEOs. And that's a whole different type of communication compared to with my peers, right? And so you have to learn that somewhere. So for me, a lot of it's happened in the professional side.
Did you have a part-time job while you were studying?
Yes, I did. I worked at a cafe, Hughenden Manor, for a little while.
Oh, I know,
I worked there for a while. And then when I was at university, I worked at a pub, as is pretty normal to work at a pub, for a few years.
But that's where a lot of those skills get put, because you're having to deal with customers, you're having to deal with maybe the wrong order, the whatever, and keep smiling through the whole thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're totally right. That's, customer service and your kind of how you present yourself to customers is definitely something you learn in those types of jobs when you're younger.
So where do you think you might see your career developing?
I think at the moment I'm enjoying, I'm at a kind of a point in my career where things are changing. So I'm moving into kind of more leadership positions, moving into kind of working with, like I said, working with CEOs and members of the board and things like that. So the communication is definitely changing. The type of job is changing as well. I think it's quite natural to start more kind of operationally, like doing things at the start of your career, and then gradually moving up into leadership positions. And that's what's happened for me more recently. But I think continuous learning is something that I really stand by now that I've done a master's degree as an adult, because even now I'm like, okay, what qualification do I need to do next? What would take
Yeah.
my career to the next level? It doesn't stop, right? Like people, I think sometimes assume that you go to school, you do your A levels, maybe you go to university, maybe you don't, but education at some point stops. And for me, that's really not been true. It's been this continuous journey of
Yeah.
developing skills and doing courses, and the more of those that I've done, the more opportunities have opened up for me.
And confidence, I found when I've done more,
Yeah.
the confidence that I got, and to actually believe in what I can do.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it really does help with confidence.
Because sometimes I remember early in my career, I was sort of like, had a little bit of an imposter syndrome. I was a college lecturer, so I wasn't far off the age of the people I was teaching. So there was, there's that sort of you've got to go past, or maybe if you've got a new job, realizing you can actually do it, even
Mhm.
though you are still learning on the job.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, the confidence side is really important. Because yeah, like you said, imposter syndrome is very real. I think especially in your
Mm.
first kind of like manager type positions, when you
Mm.
start to have, a team of people that you support, you feel those that sense of, am I the right person for this? Or do I have the right skills? Can I offer them the support that maybe they
Yeah,
need? And the truth is you probably can. It's just that you've got to believe that you can and make sure that
yeah.
you've got the right skills and you keep developing and so on.
And do you see yourself dotting off to another country?
Maybe, who knows? Yeah, maybe either, yeah, who knows? I'm really loving Canada. I'm really, really enjoying it here.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can stay. That would be ideal. Um, but at the moment, and the great thing about my job today is that there's so much travel. I've got Australia coming up, lots of
Oh
time
my
in the
gosh.
US, like so many different, I think Denmark in a few months. Um, Around Canada, there's so much travel involved, and it's a
Mm.
fully remote job. So I can also just go and work remotely from different places if I
Mm.
want to as well. So yeah, maybe would live in another country. We'll see how it goes.
And if I could take you back as an adult to that person was starting, let's say their GCSEs, what bit of advice would you give yourself?
Just to kind of enjoy the learning and really embrace it, and try not to focus too much on the the kind of, I say, like, don't focus too much on the career side. You do need to some degree, but I think just not to take it too seriously, and also to be open to other areas of learning that maybe you just haven't thought about before, or you haven't seen yourself doing. Like at the time when I was choosing my GCSEs, if somebody told me that I would be working in IT and cybersecurity, I'd be like, no, I'm not interested in that. I don't know anything about that. But actually, later on in life, I was like, oh, maybe I'm quite good at that, and maybe I'm
Mm.
interested in it. And that's something that I just never really thought about before. So I think that's a kind of, yeah, if I could go back and tell myself that, I think it'll probably be quite a valuable kind of
I
lesson.
don't think we realise how fluid a career is. I think we
Yeah,
all think
yeah, sure.
we all think that we start here and then we go, but actually, and especially the younger generation, for me, I think you actually ebb and flow so much.
Yeah,
I think that
yeah.
it changes, and I might be part of a last generation that does, go all the way through on one thing, which I think is
Yeah,
fantastic because actually that's so
yeah.
much better to have that ability to change.
Yes, exactly. And it's totally fine to. It won't hinder your career. It won't, if anything, it'll make things better for you because you'll be doing something you enjoy and something you might be naturally very good at, versus saying, I studied this, or I've only got experience in this one area, so I'm going to stay here and do what I
Mm.
know. Like it is quite valuable, I think, to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. And so many people do it. I mean, even just within our conversation, we've both studied things that we didn't then do as our jobs, right? So it's a
Yeah.
very common, very normal thing to do.
And I think, yeah, and it's just not to get so concerned about that is it, that's how it's going to be. Because I
Yes. Yeah.
think when we're younger, we sort of feel like we're being pushed to make a decision, and we're not really. As long as we get on the road and then we'll get going and then things will happen.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And so many of those skills are transferable into your professional world, right? So it's kind of, um, even if you're studying something that doesn't in any way relate to your career later on in life, they're still the building blocks, essential building blocks that you need in terms of skills to take with you anyway. So you can't lose from studying, learning something.
Well, thank you very much for that. I think people really take that. I'm quite amazed that you can work anywhere in the world. And yeah, as you say, change as things go on. And thank you so much for taking the time.
No, thanks for arranging the call, and sorry about the time zone
No,
challenges as well. It's great to talk to you.